Hello and thank you for joining us. This is the news on NT International. I am Charles Alpha. Anna Olanka is our sign language interpreter. But first, let's bring you some of our top stories. First Lady Oluremi Tinubu flags off disbursement of 200,000 naira each to 9,500 senior citizens nationwide under Renewed Hope Initiative Elder Support Scheme Season 3. The Nigerian Police Force clarifies position on tinted glass permits enforcement. And European leaders gathered to take major steps towards holding Russia financially accountable for its invasion of Ukraine. And now Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tugal, has emphasized that Africa's stability rests on trust, shared sacrifice, and institutions that endure beyond political circles. The minister made the remarks while hosting his Gambian counterpart, Sering Modo Nje, in Abuja. In a statement following the meeting, Tugal described the discussions as a reflection of a deep bilateral relations between Nigeria and the Gambia, as well as the responsibilities that accompany regional leadership. He highlighted Nigeria's support for the Gambia during its post-2017 political transition as a prime example of how African nations can stand together during critical moments that shape democratic futures. The talks also centered on security cooperation and institutional continuity, which Mr. Tugal said provide practical support that enhances sovereignty rather than fostering dependence. The ministers further discussed preparations for the upcoming Nigeria-Gambia Joint Commission scheduled for early 2026. The platform is expected to transform political alignment into concrete outcomes in areas such as trade, defense, education, and people-to-people exchanges. The Senate this Tuesday confirmed the appointment of Lateef Kayode, Minu Mohammed Dalhatu, and Emmanuel Ayodele Oke as non-career ambassadors. They were the first three nominated by President Bola Tinubu. Also confirmed by the Senate are Aisha Mahmood Kanti Bello and Anima Shaun Faoud Olanka as Commissioner for the Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission. In another development, Senate has asked the National Security Advisor to investigate the fake reports circulated on the health of Nigeria's President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio. The resolution was adopted sequel to a point of order by Senator Titus Zam, referencing fake news circulating on some social media platforms that the President of the Senate suffered a health emergency and was rushed to a hospital in London. Senate wants those responsible to be fished out and made to face the law to serve as deterrent. The Central Bank of Nigeria has revoked the operational licenses of ASO Savings and Loans PLC and Union Homes Savings and Loans PLC. Statements by Acting Director Corporate Communications of the bank, Hakama Sidi Ali, said the action taken under Bofia 2020 and the revised guidelines for mortgage banks was due to multiple regulatory violations. This include failure to meet minimum capital requirements, insufficient assets to cover liabilities, poor capital adequacy, and non-compliance with regulatory directives. The Apex Bank says the move is part of efforts to strengthen the mortgage subsector and ensure financial system stability. And the House of Representatives has expressed concern over the uncertainty surrounding the delayed clearance of Nigerian Air Force C-130 aircraft and its crew in neighboring Burkina Faso. while insisting that Nigeria should leverage on existing bilateral framework with ECOWAS and the African Union to facilitate expeditious clearance of the aircraft and its personnel. The House notes that there is no verified evidence that the aircraft violated international airspace regulations, but only made precautionary landing in Burkina Faso while on a duly authorized flight to Portugal for routine maintenance. Lawmakers are calling for swift, coordinated and transparent action by the federal government to safeguard national security interests and uphold Nigeria's sovereignty by ensuring the safe return of the aircraft and its crew.
That the diplomatic means and solutions that are required to ensure that our soldiers come back home safely are ensured.
We need to also look in the direction of retooling our foreign service, our diplomatic channels, to ensure that we have more professional touch in our diplomatic engagements.
Mandate the House of Committee on Foreign Affairs, Defense, Nigerian Air Force, and National Security to jointly interface with the Ministry of Defense, Ministry of External Affairs, and other relevant intelligence agencies to ensure prompt resolution of all issues related to the aircraft and its crew, and to report back to the House within 2 weeks.
Nigeria has outlined an ambitious genome editing roadmap, identifying the technology as a critical tool for boosting food security, strengthening agriculture, and reducing dependence on food imports, according to findings from the genome editing language analysis presented in Nairobi. Details now with Justin Bemunyi.
The report is part of a continent-wide genome editing landscape analysis commissioned by the African Union Development Agency New Partnership for Africa's Development, AUDA-NEPAD, with 16 African countries reviewing their national positions on the emerging technology. Nigeria's analysis identifies at least 7 active genome editing initiatives targeting key staple crops focused on improving yields, boosting resistance to pests and diseases, and helping crops withstand climate stress. The report highlights strong socio-economic potential, including improved food security, reduced food imports, and greater opportunities for smallholder farmers who drive the agricultural sector. Beyond crops, Nigeria is also exploring genome editing for livestock improvement and biomedical research, including vaccine development and disease diagnostics. However, the analysis flags key gaps: limited laboratory and sequencing infrastructure, shortages in specialized skills, reliance on external funding, and low public awareness that fuels misinformation. Policy recommendations call for increased domestic funding, expanded research infrastructure, effective implementation of the National Biosafety Management Agency guidelines, and inclusive public communication to build trust in genome editing and biotechnology.
As much as the African governments and Nigerian governments are looking at adopting genome editing as a strategic policy or activity, it's also important to look at the need for necessary funding requirements to ensure that the innovation is actually being generated at home in Nigeria and in each of our countries and Africa, so that we do not have to look outside to access some of those technologies.
As Nigeria's findings are reviewed alongside those of other African countries, experts say clear policy direction and sustained investment will be critical to unlocking the technology's role in food security and sustainable development. Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu has flagged off the disbursement of 200,000 naira each to 9,500 senior citizens nationwide under the Renewed Hope Initiative Elder Support Scheme Season 3. At the ceremony in Abuja, where she handed out the donation to 250 beneficiaries, she says it is crucial to prioritize the aged who cleared the path for the younger generations. State House correspondent Adeni Taiwo reports.
Since 2023, December each year has become associated with financial empowerment for senior citizens across the country.
I'm not doing any other thing apart from the little pension I receive.
Flight Sergeant Abasi Essien, retired, was working out how to apply his meager pension during the Yuletide season and meet the unique demands of the month of January when he got a call inviting him to the third Renewed Hope Initiative Elder Support Scheme.
This is the first time I say, apart from my pension, I've received any other. Because today that are being remembered. Oh.
His account reflects the theme of the edition, Finding Joy in Old Age, which was flagged off nationwide by Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu at the Mambila Barracks, Abuja, with 250 defense and police veterans.
Through this scheme, we have continued to express our gratitude and care for the men and women who have labored to build the Nigeria we are all proud to be part of today. These 9,500 selected beneficiaries will receive 200,000 naira each across the nation. Each state of the Federation has received the sum of 50 million naira, including FCT and DIPOA.
She says the intervention under the Social Investment Program of RHI embodies ongoing efforts to ensure that elderly citizens live with dignity and joy in a nation that genuinely cares for its own.
My advice to our senior citizens is to do all that is possible to find joy in old age. Let us also find purpose in community, compassion, and care. I encourage you to continue playing your parts by staying healthy and active.
The Renewed Hope Initiative Elderly Support Scheme stands as a powerful demonstration that national service is not forgotten with age or retirement.
And today's support scheme further demonstrates your deep understanding of the sacrifices made by our elderly defense and police veterans.
The gift was well received along with its intended message.
It's a relief, especially coming at this time of the year, Christmas, and then by next year you begin to think of, trying to survive the expenses that you made during this Yuletide.
Now nobody will send her out or cost small for school fees. Then the other one, buy other things in the house to make January look good for us.
I put some in my business. Then I use so that I will not finish everything at time. After Christmas, we don't have what to eat again. So I'm going to use it very, very well.
Morning, officer, sir.
Apart from providing financial support and food items, the intervention also tended to the physical well-being of the beneficiaries with a free medical outreach. From Alero Aziza Event Center, Mambila Barracks, Adeni Taiwo, NTA News.
All right, elsewhere, European leaders have gathered to take a major step towards holding Russia financially accountable for its invasion of Ukraine. The meeting is to establish a new international body that will assess and rule on compensation claims running into tens of billions of euros. Adaobi Obieshina brings us details.
The proposed International Claims Commission for Ukraine will evaluate claims for war-related damages and determine potential payouts. The plan was discussed at a high-level meeting in The Hague, attended by the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and senior European officials. It builds on an existing register of damages, which has already logged more than 80,000 claims from individuals and organizations affected by the war. The process is being coordinated under the Council of Europe, with the Commission expected to be headquartered in The Hague. Attention is now turning to a third and a more complex phase, creating a compensation fund, possible links to a frozen Russian asset held in Europe. While several EU states back the idea, The concern over legal risk has slowed consensus, particularly from countries hosting major financial custodians. As diplomatic efforts to end the war continue, the proposed reparation mechanism signals Europeans' determination to pursue justice and long-term accountability, linking peace talk not just to ceasefire, but to the cost of rebuilding a devastated Ukraine. Adobe Obiet.
Still on happenings around the world, the Rwanda-backed M23 militia has announced plans to withdraw from the strategic eastern Congolese city of Uvira. And details of this will come after the break. Please do stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. The Rwanda-backed M23 militia has announced plans to withdraw from the strategic eastern Congolese city of Uvira, following pressure from the United States over what Washington describes as a clear violation of a recently brokered peace agreement between the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda. Adaopi Obieshina reports.
The armed group said the decision to pull out of Uvira was taken at the request of U.S. mediators, days after it seized the city near the Burundi border. The takeover raised alarm over the collapse of a peace deal signed in Washington early this month, an accord hailed by the U.S. President Donald Trump as a breakthrough in ending decades of conflict in the region. Uvira's capture allowed the M23 to control a vital long corridor and cut off Congo from potential military support from Burundi, highlighting fears of border regional war. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio accused Rwanda of breaching the agreement and warned of possible consequences, while Washington's ambassador to United Nations said Kigali was pushing the region towards further instability. M23 potential leader Colonel Nagel said the group will withdraw unilaterally to instill trust and give ongoing peace effort a chance. The marshal called for the city's demilitarization, protection of civilians and infrastructure, and neutral monitoring of the ceasefire. Rwanda denies backing the group, despite repeated findings by the UN experts that its force have played a critical role. The M23 also urged implementation of a separate ceasefire agreement reached in Doha, which has yet to hold on the ground. While the withdrawal may cease immediate tensions, violence continues elsewhere in East Congo, where recent offensives have killed dozens and displaced hundreds of thousands, leaving the fragile peace process facing its toughest test yet. Adobe Obiechina, NTA News.
The Nigerian Bar Association is advocating strict adherence to the rule of law on the move by the police authorities to resume the tinted glass policy by 2nd January 2026. The president of the bar, Afam Osigwe SCN, made the advocacy at a news conference in Abuja. And our judiciary correspondent Dele Atumbi reports.
The Nigerian Bar Association says its position is based on its motto of promoting the rule of law in Nigeria. The bar is of the opinion that since the matter relating to legality or otherwise of the tinted glass permit policy is before the Federal High Court, parties in the matter are expected to wait for the outcome of the decision of the court. NBA says the police as law enforcement agency should be seen upholding the rule of law, having submitted the policy for the adjudication of the court. It calls for the intervention of President Bola Tinubu and the Chief Law Officer of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi SAN, to stop what he alleges as hasty implementation of unlawful policy currently before the court of competent jurisdiction.
It does not matter whether there is an injunction or not. The police ought to await that outcome, to which they are represented by a counsel. And they are represented by a senior advocate who gave court an undertaking that the police would not do anything. And we hope and believe that it is not the lawyer who has advised them that they can resume this collection while the matter is pending in court.
The NBA claims that the Motor Tinted Glass Prohibition Act of 1991, under which the policy is premised, is a military-era decree that no longer meets the democratic thresholds of justification under Section 45 and other relevant sections of the 1999 Constitution. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
Gombe State government is partnering with the Rural Electrification Agency to expand the renewable energy market and increase access to electricity in the state. Joshua Ojito reports that a memorandum of understanding has been signed to mobilize renewable energy developers to the state.
The Rural Electrification Agency provides the platform, and Gombe State government leveraged the opportunity to electrify its communities.
We are blessed with
At this strategic roundtable engagement, a memorandum of understanding was signed between the state government and the Rural Electrification Agency as renewable energy service companies commit to deploy solar mini-grids to the state.
I want us all to work together. For investors, be confident. For sure, there are opportunities in Nigeria. We must harness those opportunities and ensure that we change the tide and everybody benefits.
Already, 23 mini-grids projects are currently being developed in Gombe State to provide electricity to communities.
So we have funding and we developed operational framework, one whereby, Your Excellency, all you need to do is to convince the private sector to come and take this money from us and take it to the state, to our own state. And that is why we have this roundtable. But we have other opportunities that we built in collaboration with the state, a kind of a PPP arrangement where we bring funding and the state bring their own funding and we deploy the infrastructure.
So far, 20 states signed the Memorandum of Understanding with the Rural Electrification Agency to access counterpart funds from the agency to light up communities and power their economies. Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Now, the Independent National Electoral Commission, FCT, has engaged leaders of the disability community and electoral officers on the awareness and deployment of inclusive assistive devices ahead of the 2026 Area Council elections. The Resident Electoral Commissioner, represented by the Administrative Secretary, Bimbo Oladunjoye, says the meeting is part of efforts to strengthen accessibility and ensure persons with disabilities full participation in democratic process. Rabiat Shaib brings us the details.
You just use your hand. Definitely when you get to the logo of
Stakeholders from the National Orientation Agency, disability clusters and electoral officers from the area councils met to review INEC's efforts to make the 2026 polls more inclusive. Administrative Secretary, INEC FCT Bimbo Oladunjoye, said persons with disabilities are fully captured in the Commission's electoral framework.
INEC is just targeting them today to ensure that we give them some information and the kind of assistive devices that would be available to them at the polling units.
This similar event will also take place in the local government areas.
Participants received an overview of the assistive tools, including ballot guides, magnifying glasses, posters for persons with hearing impairment, all designed to help persons with disabilities vote independently.
The braille for the blind is very important, the magnifying glass for persons with albinism. Without assistive device, a lot of persons with disability will be disenfranchised.
For the acting chairman of the Joint National Association of Persons with Disabilities, FCT chapter, the deployment of these devices is a welcome step that will strengthen the political rights of persons with disabilities and improve their participation in upcoming electoral exercises.
FCT, we assured you that every person with disability will be registered.
The Commission maintains that this effort reflects its commitment to an accessible electoral process where every eligible voter can exercise their rights with dignity. Rabia Shaib, NTA News.
A framework that outlines Nigeria's financial integrity is now a necessity to enhance governance structure across all sectors of the economy. To this end, stakeholders held a roundtable engagement in Abuja to brainstorm on how to strengthen the processes, achievements, challenges, and prospects of the nation's financial integrity systems. The engagements, facilitated by the new era for sustainable leadership and accountability initiatives, brought together civil society organizations, officials of the Financial Reporting Council and the media to advance accountability systems in governance.
We return here today to further strengthening that partnership as the Council updates us on its achievements so far, the challenges faced or encountered in fulfilling its mandate, the opportunities that lies ahead. This engagement offers us as civil society actors the chance to explore ways we can support the Council through advocacy and public awareness campaign.
We have the Nigerian Code of Corporate Governance developed in 2018. We have the SME guidelines that were developed 2024. We also have the Nigerian Public Sector Governance Code and Not-for-Profit Governance Code. These last two are drafts that are currently awaiting the approval of the Honorable Minister before they will be issued. The Nigerian Code of Corporate Governance is for the public entities in Nigeria.
The war is hydra-headed. So it is a collection of different strategies that will help us be able to win the war against corruption. As you can see, each time you try to fight corruption, what happens? Corruption fights back. So the energy that we will dissipate when we are well armed, when we have available information, the right tactics, the right components, the right enablers will be totally different.
Up next is a weather report. And that's it on the news. Many thanks for watching. I am Charles Alpha. Anna Olaika has been our sign language interpreter.